Welcome everyone to Meditation Mount and to this global full moon meditation. We're delighted to have you join us from all around the world, and we are meditating today in the sun sign of Scorpio with the full moon in Taurus. And before we begin, let us take a few moments just to be present for ourselves and for each other. And let's do this by taking a few deep, gentle breaths, bringing our focus inside, releasing any tension that we may be holding in our physical body, releasing any tension that may be held inside our emotional body. And likewise with our mind, allow it to be free and clear of all extraneous thoughts. And then let's shift our focus into the heart and stand at the center of the heart. And at the center there burns a fire of love, the eternal flame of life. It's what we share in common with each other and all creation. So let us consciously link heart to heart, to heart to heart, weaving together a matrix of loving, lighted energy. This is the field of our communion, in which we will stand and do the work together. And we become aware of other groups around the world at this time meditating, and we link our group with these other groups, and so we see a vast network of light encompassing the planet. Inlets for the light of the soul of humanity. Thank you. So before we actually get into today's theme, let's remind ourselves of why we actually meditate at the time of the full moon. We've said before, it has nothing to do with the moon itself. We're not focusing on or meditating on the moon. It so happens that at the time of the full moon, we have the sun, we have the moon, and the earth are in alignment, whereby the light of the sun is reflected to earth by the whole face of the moon, so that the maximum light reaches us from our source of light, which is the spiritual sun, which in the words of an ancient prayer, is described as that being from whom all things proceed and to whom all things return. It's also said at the time of the full moon, there is increased magnetic potency. And the Ageless Wisdom teachings tells us at this time, the planetary life is in deepest meditation and at its place of highest contact with the solar life. So it's not just our personality and our soul or our humanity with the planet. The planet itself is in alignment with its higher aspect, its solar life. So there's an energetic pathway that links us on Earth with the greater lives at this time. And I call this a spiritual line of sight between dimensions. So hold it that way. We're meditating at this time because there is a spiritual line of sight. There is an inlet, there is an opening through which energies can pour into this dimension. And it's said that it's also an opportune time for strengthening the working relationship between the humans, we in the fourth realm or the fourth kingdom, and the realm of the soul, which is the fifth kingdom. And this kingdom is a more refined dimension where those who fully embody the qualities of the soul reside. Sometimes they're referred to as masters of wisdom, the wise ones, postgraduate humans. And this fifth realm will eventually be our home as we're evolving and raising our level of consciousness, because everything is evolving. So having said that, let's focus a little on what are the opportunities and challenges provided by Scorpio. Well, first of all, this sign is associated with the element of water. And there's a phrase associated with this. It's called the purificatory waters of testing and trial. And Scorpio is ruled by Mars, both esoterically and exoterically. And it is this energy that provides the fighting spirit by which the trials of Scorpio are faced. Now, Scorpio holds a unique place in our evolutionary history. We are told that Scorpio rules the path of discipleship. So anybody who said yes to life, stepped on the path, you immediately come under the influence of Scorpio and it really puts through your paces. So it offers us the needed challenges to cleanse and shape us for a life of spiritual service. Scorpio is said to be that potent constellation which influences the turning point both in the life of humanity and the individual. So it's in Scorpio that you wake up to something greater than yourself, and then you follow this urge to serve. So its function at this time in our collective history is to provide those points of crisis and those moments of reorientation that lead us ever closer to the vision of spiritual liberation. If you don't have a crisis, you can't deal with something. Everything's sort of amorphous and just in the ethers. We have to bring it to a point of crisis to address it. So it's called a point of crisis and a moment of reorientation. So humanity at the moment, right now, is living through the fires of the testing ground and the challenges of this stage on the path. And all of this is heightened by the constellation of Scorpio because it channels and conveys the fourth ray energy of harmony through conflict. And this fourth ray is all about understanding and resolving the tension between the pairs of opposites, and then finding that higher point of synthesis. That's how you resolve it. You don't remove one of the poles on the baseline of the triangle. You bring them both to a higher point of convergence. So I believe that collectively we are facing the trials of Scorpio because humanity is preparing to take the first initiation. This is something that's taken from the Ageless Wisdom teachings, and it marks an overcoming of the insatiable addiction to materialism, where we're sort of held captive. And the way we achieve it is by opening the heart, transferring our attention from self to others. And as we open the heart, we're able to hold each other with compassion, with love. So the unrest and upheaval in the world at the moment, I believe, is the result of us approaching this particular initiatory portal, because it carries with it the promise and potential of an expansion of consciousness. And when we approach the initiatory portal, we have to face the dweller on the threshold that stands guard, but it stands guard together with the angel of the presence. So if you look around the world at the moment, I think we'll all witness with what is occurring that this is a period of unprecedented testing and opportunity. So what exactly are we facing in this sign? Because it isn't just the Scorpio that happens once a year. We're talking about the sign that rules and governs our lives when we step onto the spiritual path. It rules the life of humanity as a whole as it seeks to bring itself into alignment with its overlighting soul. So let's say a few words about Scorpio. It's sometimes called the agent of deception, and this is reflected in a personality affirmation of the sign. Each sign has two mottos. One is the lower and one is the higher. So the lower personality affirmation of Scorpio is, let Maya flourish and let deception rule. That means untruths, everything, bending and the distorting of everything. But in its higher aspect, the motto of Scorpio is, warrior I am, and from the battle I emerge triumphant. Warrior I am, and from the battle I emerge triumphant. Now, these sound like warlike statements, but it's because we're dealing with Mars. And as we'll see later when we get more into the actual struggle inside of Scorpio, it's more a question of overcoming than killing. Also, Scorpio has a particular light attached to it. In fact, every sign of the zodiac has a quality of light. And the quality of light in Scorpio is called the light of liberation. So even though we're going to go through a lot of this tough testing, the light of liberation is there to help us. So the struggle in Scorpio helps us realize and eventually overcome the inherent and inherited limitations in which we've been living. And then this eventually leads to the establishing of right relations with the indwelling spiritual life, the soul, and with our surrounding environment, which I call the sacred ecosystem of Gaia. In Esoteric Astrology by Alice Bailey, she quotes something from the Tibetan master that explains more about Scorpio. So let me read that. Scorpio is under the influence or inflowing energy of Sirius. Now we could say Sirius contains the energy of freedom, liberation. So that's why liberation is so key at this time. Goes on to say, these are the major controlling influences whereby the cosmic Christ works upon the Christ principle in the solar system, in the planet, in the human, and in the lower forms of life expression. It is esoterically called the brilliant star of sensitivity. So let me just say a couple of words. The cosmic Christ is not a historical personage, but represents a vast consciousness. It's a brilliant embodiment of what I would call limitless love and truth that suffuses the whole of our system with the will to love. So the whole of our solar system is made up and infused and suffused by this brilliant consciousness. The other thing about Scorpio is it has some symbols associated with it, which are really useful to look at. There are 3 in total. First of all, you had the scorpion. I think we're all familiar with the scorpion. The scorpion represents the personality at war with itself and at war with other people. It's really the unillumined and unredeemed aspects of our personality. So when we are in our more immature aspect, we are in our scorpion nature. And as we progress and rise above that, the next symbol representing the soul is the eagle. And the eagle then allows us to lift from the earth, get a greater perspective, and bring the light of the heavens into the personality. And then there's one more symbol that's higher than the eagle. It's the dove. It's the highest expression because it represents, if you like, the highest fire, the spirit of peace. It's the fire of the monad. So you have personality, soul, and spirit. The dove, when it descends and fills our whole being, allows us to live on earth with the fire of heaven. So the dove, the eagle, and the scorpion express our triune nature. It's our Holy Trinity, if you like. And these 3 symbols represent the 3 spheres, as I said, spirit, soul, and personality. They're also described in the teachings as life, consciousness, and form. And in the Agni Yoga teachings, they're known as the fiery world, which is the highest, the subtle world, which is the world of the soul, and the manifested world, the world of form. So as I mentioned just now, Scorpio in its lower expression is called the agent of deception. Let Maya flourish, let deception rule. The reason I'm repeating this is because as we look around, I believe the current state of the world is a clear manifestation of this immature aspect of Scorpio. Without blame or judgment, it's just where we're at the moment. But the higher aspect of Scorpio with the light of liberation is allowing us to emerge triumphant from the battle. So what exactly do we face in Scorpio? If you go back to the Greek mythology and Hercules represents the soul, and in this case, the soul of humanity. Hercules has to face a particular test in each sign of the zodiac as part of its schooling. So these labors of Hercules reflect the different trials that we have to go through as humanity. And in Scorpio, which is what we're facing right now, Hercules has to defeat the nine-headed Hydra. This Hydra is also known as the Serpent of Desire. So why are we going to take some time now to emphasize the attributes and challenges and opportunities of this sign? Because, as we said earlier, Scorpio rules the path of discipleship. So it affects all of us throughout our earthly lives as we seek to tread the path of service. So Scorpio provides the tests that allow us to achieve freedom from the prison of physical attachment, emotional control, and mental conditioning. The important thing to remember that the tests in Scorpio are not written tests. This is not a written test. This is an actual in-the-flesh examination of our ability and our capacity to respond to the light of the soul and to liberate ourselves from the gravitational pull of our lower desires. Therefore, it requires real in-the-flesh answers that demonstrate we've actually achieved the requirements for crossing the threshold. So at the larger level of our humanity, we have to show that we have the requirements, the capacity, the wherewithal to cross the threshold and take this first initiation, which breaks us free from the hold of matter. So before we explore how Hercules sets about this task of defeating the Hydra, let's understand what these 9 heads of the Hydra represent. So I'm going to show you an image, and the image actually has more than 9 heads, but we're talking about the 9-headed Hydra. But I just wanted to give you a sort of a sense of it. So the 9-headed Hydra, 3 heads represent the tests faced on the physical plane, and those are sex, physical comfort, and money. The 3 heads representing the tests on the astral or emotional plane are fear, hate, and ambition. And the 3 heads representing the tests on the mental plane are pride, separateness, and cruelty. So that's quite a collection. I mean, if you're going to take an exam and these are the subjects you're going to be tested in, if you look around the world and see what we're facing as a humanity, it's pretty clear we're facing the test of Scorpio together. Exactly that. So Hercules, as a soul, must overcome and triumph. So now we get down to, well, how does he do this? How does Hercules approach this test? Now, the Hydra lives in the mud and the ooze. And mud is a combination of earth and water. So it lives in the lower planes. And it's slippery. It's the slippery serpent of desire. But Hercules can't sort of jump in and mud wrestle the Hydra because he'd be pulled under. He would drown. Also, he can't cut off a head because mythology says you cut off the head of a Hydra and 2 more heads sprout in its place. What Hercules has to do is to kneel. And kneeling, the spiritual explanation of that, kneeling represents humility. So he kneels and then he grasps the Hydra and raises it up high into the light of day. And when he does that, it loses its power. So the slippery serpent that can only live in the waters and the mud loses its power and its control over us when it is exposed to the brilliant light. So the slippery serpent of desire cannot exist in the rarefied air of the Buddhic plane, which is the higher plane of love, because lower desires no longer hold sway there. So this holds true both for our personal lives and our collective lives. I believe there's a huge distinction between overcoming the Hydra and killing it. To overcome means to dissolve the stubborn patterns of the personality through a release of the higher light of the soul, raising the Hydra up into the light of day. But if you go about killing the outer forms, such as cutting off a head of the Hydra, it doesn't remove the imprisoning patterns and addictions. It simply prolongs and complicates the process of liberation. I know that many of us have felt this past year an intensification of the testing under Scorpio. I can speak personally that all the things I thought I'd overcome have reared their head again to catch my attention and elicit a response. And these challenges that come up to meet us, I believe, represent the last vestiges of those patterns that are the most stubborn and difficult to liberate. I call these my holdouts. And I've given them a little name or a little phrase. I call my holdouts the recalcitrant residue of deeply imprinted patterns of behaviors and beliefs. So the time of Scorpio and the testing and the facing of the dweller and the angel of the presence and the moving through the portal into the first initiation for humanity is a time of liberation where the soul begins to control and not the lower desires. So thankfully, Scorpio holds the light of liberation because that guarantees we will eventually overcome these terrestrial trials. In the Ageless Wisdom teaching, there is what I call the spiritual equivalent of a governmental health warning label attached to Scorpio. Let me explain. I'll read the final quote from the Tibetan, and you'll understand what I mean by a government health warning. Under this sign, a focus on desire and emotional responses only further deters from the light, embedding one further in the darkness of uninspired matter. Thus, the question arises, will the world Hercules, humanity, elevate the hydra of passion and hate, of greed and aggression, and of selfishness and ambition up into the region of the soul, or will it carry the whole matter down onto the physical plane with the inevitable corollary of world disaster, world war, and death? Basically saying, this test, kind of make it or break it. These are really important times for us to understand the larger context. So by consciously working with the dweller on the threshold, which is really the sum total of all the unredeemed aspects of our being, and the angel of the presence, which represents the sum total of the petals of our soul and the qualities that have been developed, when these two can merge and dance together, when this duality can be resolved, we can step through over the threshold into a new era. So both individually and collectively, Scorpio is offering an opportunity to overcome these ancient taintings and patterns and things that have held us back. So think about that. This is not just another critical time on the planet. This is the first time, it's said, in the history of our humanity that we have faced an initiation together, collectively, as one species. So this is the global struggle in which we currently find ourselves. I believe it's why things are so intense at the moment. So as our human family wrestles with and seeks to overcome the serpent of desire in order that we may live more soul-directed lives, let us now utilize the focused energies of this group meditation to receive and release the light of liberation into our world. Because our meditations together aren't just to receive, they're then to distribute the light further into the world. So carrying this powerful awareness of the task at hand inside our collective heart, Diana will now lead us in the full moon meditation.
Thank you, Michael. Hello, friends. It's good to be together right now these days and remember that there's a community of healers and seers and beautiful souls all around this planet, that we are in a time, like Michael explained, of regeneration and transformation and group discipleship of all of humanity at the same time. And you feel the power of these times. And I'll just remind you a couple of little things and share a couple of thoughts. And one is that I've been talking about for a few years actually now about the Pluto return of the United States, which has been going on for 3 years. Pluto opposing Pluto returning to Pluto, sorry. And in that, it is a renewal of transformation and regeneration of what? The United States. And of course, United States ripples out and affects everyone, just like you ripple out and affect everyone. Our thoughts ripple out and affect everyone. And when we have a huge group together, having a group experience, that's rippling out and affecting everyone. It's very important to work with the energies at hand. There is more going on than we know on the ground and in the ethers all around us. And there are things about that we cannot see. And my own personal meditation in the last few days has been truth will out. And I just use that like a hum in the background to work with. But what we're working with Pluto is karma. And the United States has karma, big karma, with a Revolutionary War, which was the beginning of the country, and our own civil wars. And all this karma must be worked out. So here we are, working it out. And in order to work out karma, we have to see what we're working with, which is what's happening. Everything is coming to the surface to be seen, to be worked with, to be healed. So no matter what you see, I've been telling this to everyone lately, no matter what you see, no matter what you hear, even no matter what you think, keep holding up. Keep your energy up. Keep lifting up, aligning with soul, the soul of the nation, the soul of America, the soul of every country on this planet, the soul of yourself, lining up with, in this case, the soul of the US, but also the soul of our earth. The earth has a soul too, and it's going through an initiation as well. So there's so much going on, and it is a very, very powerful time. And the earth is in the balance, you know? And so the one more thing I want to work with today in a conscious way is the phrase, let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. And this is a powerful, powerful mantra that comes from the great invocation that we say every time at the end after the meditation. And as you use these words and you start to feel these words, actually, of the whole great invocation, because every single word has an energy, the whole thing has an energy, the whole thing is a formula for awareness, the whole thing is an alchemy. You see, let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. And the thing I want to emphasize is let light and love and power must be equal. It's a triangle. Equal light, equal love, equal power. Light, love, and power. And you can feel that once this is equalized perfectly, harmoniously, it starts to move and make and create. And it creates an energy in its own right. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. And so that needs to all be in right relationship. So when we move into the meditation in a moment, we're going to use that idea form inside the meditation to organize our energies with it, to line up with it, and to help to restore the plan on Earth in these very big, powerful, changing times. Scorpio, solar Scorpio, full moon in Taurus, it becomes physical, right? It realizes the Earth, this big work that is in process. So when you're ready to, setting yourself up as you'd like to be for the meditation, we'll have about 10 minutes of silence. And I'll often tell you when that is, and then you'll move into that inner silence to get your impressions as we make the alignment together so that we can even touch a higher vibration together as a group. So here we go with this world service meditation. And close your eyes and just feel yourself come into the moment and sort of bring yourself from wherever you've been in the world lately and today, and bring yourself in from wherever you have been in your mind, even just now, into this present moment, which is your point of power. Bringing yourself into this present moment now. Om. And as you do, you can start to already feel the higher alignments coming to the end in relationship with the physical self. The chakras of the body, your feet on the floor, from the mother, connecting to the mother of the world through the heart center. And you feel yourself feeling that heart chakra awaken, feeling all these lights around the planet. And in this meditation right now, and in the meditation in these next 24, 36 hours, which it's exact tomorrow at 1:30 in the afternoon. So we're just preceding it, which is very, very powerful. And just breathing through the heart center to calm the bodies, taking a breath to physically relax the physical body on the exhalation inhale. And as you exhale, relaxing the physical body. Om. Whatever tension there may be, relaxing your hips, relaxing your legs, relaxing your feet, relaxing your neck, relaxing your eyes, relaxing your brain, relaxing everything so you can be still and present now. And on another breath, we'll relax the emotional body and bring it into harmony. On a breath, inhale. And as you exhale, balancing the emotional body. Om. And the emotional body has had a lot of waves and motion these days. And for now, you become harmonized between body, heart, and now mind. And on a breath, inhale. And as you exhale, balancing the mental body. Om. Body, mind, heart, in perfect, harmonious relationship. And feel that line of light from the center of the heart move up into the head center, taking your place in the cave, in the heart of mind. And the moment that you do, you feel the crown chakra open and connect to the soul, the overlighting soul. Just like that, the soul and the self are one. And in that recognition, it becomes known, linked, and powerful. And that energy continues all the way up through all the masters and teachers. and through the heart of Shambhala and the heart of the sun to the heart of Sirius. And feel that alignment. Feeling your alignment within the heart of the cave. And we'll use this seed thought for the silence. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. In your mind's eye, see that equilateral triangle of love, light, and power in perfect balance and made of light. So it's moving light, a triangle of moving light, blue, white light with Christ at its center. And then feeling that energy beginning to expand out and out and outward, radiating light, love, and power in perfect organization with the divine plan. Releasing this light of liberation into our world. Pure light, now see this triangle, radiating this light, this design, divine design. And then allowing all of this begin to integrate and reform into your own body being so that your cells are different, so that your atoms are different from ever onward now, all containing this light, that you are this light in your thought, in your word, in your deed, an expression of this divine plan. And peace on earth. The Scorpio, scorpion, becomes the dove. Feeling your feet on the ground, organizing yourself into this time and space. We'll use the great invocation to close this meditation. Followed by 3 Oms. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into all human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into all human hearts. And may the coming one return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. from the center, which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. And one more thing I can recommend right now, and I'm doing, and having everybody I know and all my students everywhere, is light a candle to hold this energy over these next days and weeks. Hold the energy up, making a blessing and carrying this energy right out in to our new now, and the new now, and the new now. Many things are coming, and we need to be aligned in that light. And that candle just being lit and holding will remind you of this energy that we built in this meditation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dante. Let's stay inside the sacred. Let's stay inside this sacred space we've created, and the triangle of light and love and power. And we're going to now intentionally send this out from the heart of our group into the world. What we have received, we have taken in and been enriched, and now we send it out so that we are part of this great circulation of blessing, this great chain of being. We will be sounding the Tibetan bowl 3 times, and at each sounding, we'll be sending out a wave of light, of love and power. So bring ourselves now together inside the group heart to this point of focused intent. And the first wave will be the release of the liberating light of the soul. And as the Tibetan bowl is sounded, let us breathe out this light into the world and see it dispel the darkness of ignorance, the darkness of hatred. So let us breathe in from the heart and breathe out the liberating light of the soul. And the second wave that we send out into the world as a blessing will be the liberating love of the soul. And as we breathe this out at the sounding of the Tibetan bowl, we see this love opening the hearts of our sisters and brothers around the world, allowing loving kindness, compassion, empathy to enter. So breathing in from the heart, we breathe out the liberating love of the soul into the world. And the third and final wave will be the liberating power of life. So let us stand inside our group heart, and as we breathe out at the sounding of the bowl, we see all the old forms that no longer serve cleared away, and in that space, new seeds of new possibilities planted. Let us breathe out the blessings of the liberating power of the life that lives at the heart of our soul. And these seeds for the new season of growth on earth, the new season of our evolving soul of humanity, these seeds contain the promise of things to come. That promise is what we refer to as the divine plan. So let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. We thank you for joining with us today in this group meditation, a service to the world. And on behalf of Diana, Joey behind the scenes, holding the production and technical support together for us, and myself, we bid you farewell from Meditation Mount, and we stand with you, and we stand together in the light and love and power that is the liberating presence of the soul. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next month. Namaste.